The first thing I learned about the Virellian Empire was that they did not believe in accidents. Everything, from their architecture to their military doctrine, was deliberate, calculated, perfect. Which is why, when I tripped over a power conduit and crashed face-first into the glowing doorway of the most restricted archive chamber in their capital city, I knew I was already dead. I hadn't meant to be there. I was a civilian systems analyst, human liaison assigned to Virellia Prime after the uneasy ceasefire between our species. My job was simple: translate human cybernetics into something the Empire's engineers could understand. Instead, I had taken a wrong corridor in a palace that was built like a geometric nightmare. The door behind me sealed with a hiss. The chamber lit up, and the silence turned sharp. "Do not move." Her voice was low, calm, controlled. I froze. Standing across the circular archive hall was the most imposing figure I had ever seen. 7 feet tall in black ceremonial armor, etched with silver insignia. A crested helmet shaped like the head of some predatory avian. A plasma halberd humming softly in her grasp. The Virellian Royal Guard. Specifically, the Queen's personal guard. Which meant I had not just trespassed. I had trespassed into something sacred. Slowly, very slowly, I raised my hands. "I'm lost," I said. Which is not a good defense, I realize. She stepped forward. Her armor shifted with mechanical grace. Every movement measured. "Irrelevant," she replied. "This chamber contains Imperial War archives. Entry is punishable by immediate execution." "Ah. Execution." "Right." My brain, apparently in self-defense mode, chose humor. Immediate? No paperwork. Her halberd lifted slightly. Silence. The weapon hummed louder. I swallowed. This was it. Dying on an alien world because I couldn't read a hallway sign written in 12-syllabic glyphs. But then something unexpected happened. She hesitated. Her helmet tilted. "Your biometric signature," she murmured. "You are the human liaison." "Yes," I said quickly. "That's me. Very alive. Preferably staying that way." A pause. Then she deactivated the halberd. The humming stopped. "You are not authorized to be here," she said. I gathered. "However, killing you would destabilize diplomatic accords." I blinked. "So, that's good. For you." I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. "Then," I said carefully, "thank you for not executing me." She stared at me, silent, evaluating. Her helmet's visor reflected my very nervous expression. "I am Captain Seralyth of the Queen's Guard," she said finally. "You will follow me. And not be killed." "Correct." "Well," I said, stepping toward her, "Captain Seralyth, in that case." The words left my mouth before my survival instincts could stop them. "May I have your hand in marriage?" Silence. Absolute, ringing silence. Even the archive chamber seemed to recoil. Her head snapped slightly toward me. "Explain." "Oh no." I had miscalculated. "It's a human custom," I said quickly. "When someone spares your life, sometimes you express extreme gratitude in exaggerated ways." Her halberd flickered back on for half a second. "Marriage is exaggerated?" "Yes," I said. "Very." She studied me. "You are either fearless or cognitively impaired. Little of column A, little of column B." Another pause. Then, to my shock, she deactivated the weapon again. "You will walk," she said. "That's not a no. It is not a yes." The corridors outside the archive were lined with crystalline light columns. Other Virellians stepped aside as Captain Seralyth passed. They didn't look at her. They didn't look at me. Fear followed her like gravity. "Are you required to report this?" I asked quietly as we walked. "Yes." And what happens when you do? The Queen will decide your fate. Execution? Likely. I nodded slowly. Then I suppose I should refine my proposal. She stopped walking, turned to face me. You persist. I'm human. That is not an explanation. It kind of is. Her visor shimmered slightly, scanning my face. Why did you ask for marriage? The corridor was empty. No witnesses. I shrugged. Because you spared me when you didn't have to. And because you didn't look at me like I was prey. You were prey. Technically. She stepped closer. Her height forced me to tilt my head back. I spared you for political stability, she said. Motivation doesn't change the outcome. Another silence. Then, unexpectedly, she removed her helmet. It disengaged with a soft mechanical hiss. What I saw beneath it stunned me into silence. Virellians were known for their avian features, high cheekbones, faint silver markings along the skin, luminous eyes. But Seralyth's eyes, they weren't cold. They were curious, sharp, intelligent, and just slightly amused. You are either very brave, she said softly, or very foolish. Still undecided, I replied. Her lips twitched. Just barely. A Virellian smile. The Queen did not execute me. Instead, she summoned me. The throne chamber was vast, open to the stars through a transparent dome. Queen Virellian sat upon a crystalline seat that seemed grown, not built. Seralyth stood beside her, helmet back on, immovable. You entered the war archives, the Queen said, her voice echoing across the chamber. Yes, Your Majesty. Accidentally. And proposed marriage to my captain. The entire chamber went still. I swallowed. Yes, Your Majesty. Also accidentally. A ripple moved through the court. Virellian nobles whispering. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly. You find this amusing? Terrifying, actually. A pause. Then, to my absolute shock, the Queen laughed. It was soft, but real. You humans, she murmured. Unpredictable. She looked toward Seralyth. You did not execute him. No, my Queen. Why? His death would destabilize diplomatic relations. And Seralyth hesitated. A fraction. He did not beg. The chamber quieted further. The Queen leaned forward. And what do you request, human? There it was. The moment. I could apologize. Grovel. Promise to stay in my assigned corridors forever. Instead, I did the one thing humans are historically very bad at avoiding. I doubled down. I request permission to court Captain Seralyth. A collective intake of breath. Even Seralyth turned her helmet slightly toward me. The Queen's expression became unreadable. You understand, she said slowly, that Virellian courtship is not symbolic. I assumed it wasn't. It involves combat trials. I blinked. Define combat. The first trial was not what I expected. It wasn't against Seralyth. It was against tradition. Virellian society valued strength above all. Their guards were elite, genetically optimized, trained from youth. Humans? We were considered fragile. Adaptable, yes. But fragile. The combat arena was circular, surrounded by tiers of watching nobles. I stood in borrowed armor that fit poorly. Across from me stood a Virellian warrior twice my mass. This is not to the death, Seralyth had told me privately. Comforting. It is to incapacitation. Less comforting. The signal sounded. He charged. I didn't match his strength. I didn't match his speed. So I did what humans do best. I adapted. Rolled beneath his first strike. Used the arena's lower gravity to spring higher than expected. Targeted joints instead of armor. The fight was brutal. I lost ground. Took hits. Felt ribs crack. But I didn't quit. And when he finally pinned me, I laughed. Blood in my teeth. Is that all you've got? The arena went silent. Because humans don't laugh during defeat. We laugh when we're about to do something reckless. I triggered the emergency magnetic pulse device hidden in my gauntlet. Not illegal, just creative. His armor locked for half a second, just long enough. I twisted free and knocked him off balance. He hit the ground first. Incapacitated. The silence broke into stunned murmurs. Seralyth stood unmoving. But I saw it again. That slight shift of her posture. Pride. The second trial was worse. It was private. In the training hall. Just her and me. No weapons, she said. Comforting. You must prove you understand partnership. That sounds less violent. It is not. She attacked without warning. Faster than before. Stronger. This was not a formal duel. This was her. Testing me. Every strike calculated. Every movement precise. I blocked. Dodged. Failed. Adjusted. Eventually, she pinned me to the floor. Blade at my throat. You cannot defeat me, she said quietly. I know. Then why persist? Because partnership isn't about defeating you. Her blade pressed slightly closer. Explain. It's about standing beside you. Not above. Not below. Her grip faltered. Just a fraction. In my species, I continued carefully, strength isn't just physical. She studied me, searching for deception. Finding none. Slowly, she withdrew the blade. You are weaker, she said. Physically. Yes. But you adapt. We survive. A long pause. Then she extended her hand. Not as a threat. As an offering. I took it. The Queen's decision came 3 cycles later. The court assembled once more beneath the starlit dome. Human, Queen Verith declared, you have completed the trials. I stood beside Seralyth. Bruised. Healing. Alive. You have demonstrated resilience, the Queen continued. Ingenuity. And most importantly, respect. She turned to her captain. Seralyth, do you accept this human as a potential consort? The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Seralyth removed her helmet. In front of everyone, her luminous eyes met mine. I do, she said. The chamber erupted. Some in outrage. Some in disbelief. But the Queen raised her hand. Then it shall be permitted. She looked directly at me. Understand this, human. You are no longer merely a liaison. I understand, Your Majesty. You are now bound to the Empire's future. I glanced at Seralyth. She squeezed my hand. Not gently, but firmly, like a warrior. Months later, I stood once more in the archive corridor where I had nearly died. Only this time, I walked beside Captain Seralyth, no longer just captain. My partner. The Empire had not fallen. Diplomacy had not shattered. In fact, something unexpected had happened. Human and Virellian cooperation strengthened. Because strength recognized strength. Not in muscle, but in will. You still entered this corridor by mistake, she said quietly. Best mistake of my life. She tilted her head. You understand that had I executed you, history would be simpler. Boring, though. Her lips curved. That subtle Virellian smile. You are still foolish. And you still didn't kill me. She stepped closer. Lowered her voice. I did more than spare you. Yeah, I chose you. For a species that believed nothing was accidental. That meant everything. I squeezed her hand. Good, I said softly. Because I meant it. Meant what? The proposal. Her eyes shimmered. Then you will spend your life proving it. I grinned, looking forward to the challenge. Above us, through the crystalline dome, Stars burned bright over Virelia Prime. Once, I had walked these halls as an outsider.
Now,
I walked them as something far more dangerous. A human who had survived, adapted, and asked the galaxy's deadliest guard for her hand. And somehow, she said yes.